Are you good at chess?
No.
I'm not either, and I get so intimidated when I see them playing chess.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, there's no...
They're just gonna hustle.
They're gonna hustle me, and I'm not good at that.
No.
I can play against my dad, and I can beat my dad sometimes.
If they don't know that like one opening move where you can win in 3 moves, then I'm screwed.
Yeah.
I mean, if they do know it.
If they know it, and
then I'm screwed. But if they don't, I can win in 3 moves.
There you go.
But I'm sure they know it.
They probably know it. And do you play for money?
Like how
does it work?
I think they must put money down. I've never played against them.
They must make like good money because there's a lot of people there.
Yeah.
Sometimes you see like, what do you call it when like the grandmaster of chess? Like that's the thing,
like
right?
The Bobby Fishers and.
Sometimes they'll like be in like disguise and come and sit down and try to play like the chess hustlers or whatever they call it. Yeah, all right, my fans. I love getting recognized, man. I love it.
Do you think they ever bring like that Watson computer or Deep Blue into the park to play?
I don't think so.
No?
I'm sure there's like apps you can use though that probably like scan the board or something.
Yeah.
Anyway, let me give you an introduction here because first, people might not know, but I'm in Union Square. It's a beautiful Sunday.
It's beautiful out
here in New York City. I'm here with my good friend, comedian, mentalist. Eric Dittelman.
Hi.
He can read your mind and tell you all about it.
Yeah, I can do that. So, on stage.
But you know him from his appearances on Live with Kelly, America's Got Talent, at the Ellen Show. I mean, you got quite the impressive resume.
Thank you.
If I may.
Did you mean to say it like that?
I did. Okay. I did. Everything is on purpose, Dittelman.
Good.
Everything is on purpose.
That's fun.
Yeah, so you also do, we were just talking about this before we started rolling, a lot of colleges.
Yes.
But the college market has turned to shit.
I mean, it's still there. It's just, it's different than...
But it's turned to shit.
I mean, I still do a bunch. It's just, it's all diversifying now. You got to have different markets, and you can't stick to one.
Right.
Which
was never your thing. You never had just your hand in only the college market.
No.
And same with me. Like I was always doing, cruises, colleges, comedy clubs. I do a few corporates.
Yeah.
Not as much as you probably.
Yeah, I'm doing a lot of corporates these days, which is nice.
Great.
Which is really
Oh my gosh, those corporate shows. If you don't know what a corporate show is, it's for like a corporation. They'll have like a big event or a gala, and it's usually in like a fancy hotel room.
Right. Which is nice because they put you up in a fancy hotel room as well.
And they pay you.
The show's not in the room you're staying. Like it's a conference.
No. Yeah. Unless you're doing a weird
like a private, come to my room.
Right.
I don't get any of those gigs, do you?
No. Those, I am a married man, and I am very loyal and faithful to my missus. But corporate, and they just pay so well. Corporate shows is crazy. I need more of those though, I'll tell you that. So I don't think I even know when you got started in mind reading mentalism.
It was college is when I made the switch from like magic into mentalism.
So I feel like magic's like the gateway to mentalism.
Sure. Not for everyone. I know like a handful of people that started just in mentalism, but it's a subsect of magic, right? So it's just a specialization. There's a different approach to performing it. So I started with magic as a young kid doing like sleight of hand and stuff like that. And then that was always just a hobby. And then eventually in college, I started like studying mentalism, and I found that was more my alley because of, it's kind of like standing on stage and just being there like a stand-up comedian or whatever. There's not really props to hide behind.
And how much fun is it to eliminate props from a show?
It's good. I still feel like I have too many bags I carry, but it is less than my magician friends.
I bet you had less than when I did too, though.
Oh yeah, you had like
we did a show together
clubs
once.
And everything.
We're not with juggling.
Yeah. Oh, well, just everything.
Yeah. But when you and I did like a college, we did that one college together.
Oh right.
Where was that?
That was in Massachusetts right before a hurricane, I believe.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I think I drove back in that hurricane and got stuck. I got stuck with flooding on a bridge overnight.
That's right.
Yes.
I think I left like during your set.
During my set.
I was I don't want to get stuck in this hurricane.
That's true.
Man, things we do. And you're like such a road warrior. Like I see photos of you on airplanes at like 3 in the morning. Like you're at the airport at 6 a.m.
That's the tip,
You're renting
though.
U-Hauls
to
get to gigs.
That was one story where
Tell everyone what happened.
That one, I landed in Little Rock, and for whatever reason, all the rental cars were like sold out.
Even though you had a reservation.
Even though I had a reservation, and they called me when I landed. They were like, "I don't know how you made this reservation, so good luck." And then I was like, "All right, this has happened before," so I like called the downtown ones. And they didn't have cars either. I don't know what was happening. So I remembered a story in the back of my mind from a performer friend of mine, and they're like, "Well, you could just go to U-Haul and rent a U-Haul for the day." So I like literally, like the truck was already taken, so someone else already had the idea. So I had like the big van and was like fishtailing to get to my show. And then like I checked into the hotel, they're like, "What's your make and model?" I was like, "U-Haul." They're like, "Color, orange." Yeah.
I'll be the U-Haul parked in the diamond parking spot.
Yeah. So yeah, you never know, but the tip for flying is you always try to do the early flight out because that's the one that's least likely to be delayed.
See, I don't like that. I take the cheapest.
Yeah, but also like if you're stuck and you're delayed, you got to get to the gig.
True.
Like that's the part of being a professional, so you have time to like change flights. You're like, I guess I missed the money.
I'd rather be like well rested and poor than tired and.
There's naps. I take a lot of naps when I land.
I'm a bad napper.
No?
I'm not good at it. If I could nap, I would have no problem. If I could sleep on airplanes, no problem.
Yeah.
Not a problem at all. But I can't do any of that.
I only sleep on airplanes.
Really?
Well, I try to fall asleep before we take off and wake up when we land, so it's like you teleported.
Are you a window seat guy?
Always.
9A or 9F is my seats.
Oh, yeah?
What do you like?
Well, I try to get my upgrade.
That's not American. If I'm not upgraded.
Yeah, I'm on Delta, which you can't do.
All right. Moving on. I am still banned. Sucks.
I feel like this podcast or vlog or what do you call this?
It's a podcast. Talkie Walkie.
You got a video element to it. I feel like this is just your excuse to get me out exercising.
It's an excuse for me to exercise.
Okay, good.
Yeah, I didn't go on a run today, so I feel like I was like, I have 2 Talkie Walkies I'm doing today. So I'm like, that'll get my steps in.
Nice.
Because after this, I have to go home and I have to edit so much videos.
Wow.
I shot a lot of content this week that needs to edit.
I don't know how you do it, man. The fact that you're like always putting stuff out there. I'm just like putting photos on my Instagram, but that's about it.
That's fine. Yeah. I mean, I'm just trying to. The reason I go all in is I'm trying to just get my numbers up.
Yeah.
Like I don't know why, but I feel like it helps. And I want people to see my content. And I actually really enjoy making videos.
Yeah.
Like I went to film school, and so I kind of like, and I love doing comedy. So I'm kind of combining my 2 loves. And when I was younger, I would make videos. Then I kind of stopped doing that. And then I just started getting, social media came around. And at first it was clips from shows.
Right.
But my clips don't do well. Maybe I'm not funny, but.
No, you're very funny. I like seeing your stand-up clips.
Oh,
but it's always a challenge for me, too, because I don't want to spoil the surprise of my show as well. So, like, I don't like posting clips.
Hey, Lisa. Hi. How are ya? I'm doing a podcast right now. This is my favorite realtor. Sorry, Micah, in New York City. Lisa, how you doing?
I'm good. I'm on my way to the office.
All right, we'll see you, Lisa. Have a good one.
There you go.
She's the best. She is so cool. She got me and my wife into our apartment that we're in. And she lives right by me on the Upper East Side. So
fantastic.
She probably hated being on camera there. But
you never know what you're going to see in New York City.
But that's why I love doing this podcast, too, where I'm walking around, because, like, everything is, like...
Yeah. The city is a character in the video.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there was a time that I was in Wisconsin and I had no guests because I was like
because you were in Wisconsin.
Yeah. And so I just did one where I'm just like walking around and it just didn't have the same vibe.
No, it doesn't have the same energy as the city.
No.
We're going.
Okay. You started to do magic, and then you got into the mentalism stuff. You started eliminating some of your props, even though you still have props. But
but it's all paper products. Like I really need Staples to sponsor me or something.
You should get Staples to sponsor you.
Yeah.
Who are some of like the guys looking, or the women, men or women looking that you looked up to, that you still look up to, who like kind of inspired your style of mentalism?
Yeah. Well, one of the reasons I got into mentalism because I was watching a lot of mentalists that are like have the stereotype of being long and drawn out and like kind of boring in a way.
Yeah.
So my style was always like much faster and like get to the point and like have elements of comedy throughout. So
you are very funny.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Appreciate that.
You're welcome.
You're not bad yourself.
I'm working on it.
Okay.
I'm working on it. This isn't about me. This is about you, Dittelman.
But yeah, no, there was two main mentors or people I actually sought out to learn from because I was reading their books already. Was Bob Cassidy, who's sadly no longer with us. Who's a kind of... I
don't think I've ever heard of Bob Cassidy.
He kind of shaped what modern mentalism is, which is pretty amazing.
Way to go, Bob.
I got to study with him in D.C.
Wow, that's cool.
Yeah, and I kind of sought him out, and which was great. And that was right before America's Got Talent, too.
Oh,
so,
wow.
Yeah.
And you were on the finals, right?
Yeah, I was in the top 10.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
That was when people still watch that show.
Well, it was especially when it was Howard Stern's first year, so everyone was tuning in to see what he would say and do. And I always thought he was the best judge, or one of the best judges, because he's so honest. And also, like, his radio show is just kind of a variety show in itself.
Yeah, true. I got approached to do AGT a few times.
Yeah.
But my thing is, I would get so nervous, I think, if I did it. Did you get nervous? And if you, like, how do you deal with being on live TV in front of, literally millions of people are watching you? How do you deal with that?
I didn't know we were taking such risks during this podcast, just crossing the street.
Well, I'm trying to get hit by a car, and we got the walk signal
okay,
now.
we got it now.
But I'm looking. We're in New York. We can just go anywhere.
What was the question? Oh,
so how do you deal with, like, you're on stage, America's Got Talent.
Yeah.
You got your friends, your family, people you went to school with, ex-girlfriends watching you.
Sure.
Like, how do you deal with, like, that stress?
I was just very much focused on the judges, because I knew they would be the lens that the audience was viewing it through.
Yeah.
So you don't think about the millions of people watching at home, and everything was just kind of a blessing. Like, once that first audition happened, I didn't even think I was going to make the show. And then the fact that I made the show and then kept going through round after round, it was like, that's icing on the cake. So that's like all bonus at this point. I tried to lower my expectations so it wasn't like, oh, I'm going to be disappointed if this doesn't happen.
Right.
And that's kind of the advice I give anyone
just
going on a show.
Lower your expectations.
Yeah, like, don't go in thinking you're going to win the show. Because there's definitely people that do. They're like, I'm going to do this in this round, and this in this round, and that in that round. And it's like, well, just focus on the first one.
Right.
You might not get to do any of those other ones.
Right.
So.
But it's hard because you want to save something for if you want to save, because you always have to, like, top yourself.
Yeah,
which is so dumb.
But I'd say just do your best thing first, because that's the best way you're going to get on the show to begin with.
Yeah.
And even if you just get that one clip, that was my only goal, was to get that one clip.
One clip, and you got how many clips?
Many, 4 or 5.
Yeah.
Something like that. So yeah, it was a good experience for me. But again, I was just kind of like, I'm just do it on a whim. We'll see if this helps, and then it did.
Wow, it did. And like, what came from that? Like, did you get a lot more bookings? A lot more people wanted, I want Eric to come to my party. I want Eric to be in my TV show.
Yeah, I think it just brings you to the next level wherever you are in your career. So, like, I was still working at a board game store at the time. So, like, I wasn't even full-time yet.
You weren't? I didn't know that.
So I was literally the story people expect from that show, of just someone trying to make it and break through. Now you see, like, all these pros go on and trying to boost their careers, which is another great strategy to do.
Sure.
But they already had that kind of runway in place to capitalize off of it. So for me, I got to go full time.
That's so cool.
And then, like, all these doors open up. You still have to, like, walk through them and prove yourself. So I was doing new markets and stuff like that. But you find what works for you.
Yeah, that's so fascinating. Okay, so sorry, you were talking about the guy from DC, Bob.
Well, yeah, that's where I met him, in DC for a workshop.
Okay.
Yeah, I think he was in Seattle at the time. But also Banachek, who I think you know.
I know of him. We've never met.
Yeah, he's great. He was just doing a residency out in Vegas, but he's like one of the best mentalism thinkers. So I specifically, my first trip out to Vegas was to meet him and study with him as well. So, yeah.
Isn't it fascinating how, these are people you looked up to when you were younger, and now like they're your friends.
Yeah.
And like you're like peers with them now. Isn't that kind of weird how that works?
And I think that's just the best part about being in this industry is if you're putting out good work and you're a nice person, it's not even networking because you're just kind of doing it naturally. It's not like something active you're doing. Other than I did pay to meet, my mentors for specific workshops, but that was just to get my foot in the door.
Oh, sure, yeah.
But then you just, you kind of prove yourself as a decent person, and then what results from that is now I have friends all over the country, from like performer friends.
Of course.
Like we run into each other in random cities that aren't in New York.
That's true. That is true.
And then when I'm traveling, I'll just see like, who do I know in the area? Maybe I can meet up for a drink.
That's so cool.
Something. Yeah.
I mean, it's so fun to meet up with people. Where didn't we go somewhere with in Minnesota with God, what's that guy?
Mall of America?
No, didn't we do something with Derek Hughes? Maybe I'm thinking.
Maybe.
So maybe it was like a NACA or something. I'm thinking.
Yeah.
What are some of the biggest mistakes or like pet peeves that you see mentalists or magicians doing that you're just like, stop doing that?
I'm trying to think off the top of my head. That's a hard question.
It is a hard question.
I usually can see it, like spot it when I see it in a performer.
Yeah.
But I think it's just not thinking things through all the way. Because one of the things for me, I'm always trying to make everything congruent in what I do. So like if I say something in this part of the show, it makes sense and it still applies later in the show.
Yeah.
And I just see people just stop thinking too soon for a lot of things. So it's like, why does that make sense to you in your head when we're following it as an audience? It doesn't make sense to us anymore. So
do you see a lot of magicians doing the same types of routines that people, like a lot of magicians like yourself and like my friend Ben, Simon and Colin Cloud, they'll come up with and Harrison Greenbaum, they come up with like their own.
Just quit naming our friends. I mean, we're both mutual friends.
No, I'm just saying these are people who have also done Talkie Walkie. So
Gotcha.
And I don't want to like throw all magicians under the bus here, but you go to like a magic show, you see like a guy doing like a routine that they bought on the internet.
Sure.
Then you see another magic show, the guy's doing like the same routine. Like, I would think that might get under your skin a little bit.
Yeah, out of the box and just performing it's kind of annoying because you should add your own self to it, whatever you do. So, like, make it unique, make it to your own. Mentalists have a specific problem that there's only so many, like, effects, big, like, effects you can do. You can either read people or you could like influence them / predict what they're going to do.
Right.
And then it's all just shading on how you're presenting that.
So you're kind of doing like the same trick different ways in a way?
Yeah, you're trying to figure out different premises to show these two powers you have, if those are your two skill sets or whatever. Magicians, they can do pretty much anything. And they'd just be like, well, that's magic and it all fits in this bubble. But like, I'm very limited if I want to stay consistent with my, quote, powers.
Right now, but you don't claim to have real powers,
No.
Right?
I'm just saying that in terms of what I'm able to do on stage, right?
Are there people out there that claim they have real powers? And
absolutely.
And they're mentalists, but you know all the tricks they're doing?
I am a member of an organization that's supposed to stay on the ethical side of that.
Okay.
Although there is there's some people that walk that line into like doing like readings and sort of claiming real psychic abilities.
Right.
But the idea is that we are different than psychics themselves because they're claiming supernatural powers, and mentalists are kind of more honest about what they're doing.
But there are some mentalists that are like, no, I'm the real deal.
Well, there's an argument to be made, and I see their side of it, is that when you go see a theater show, the actors aren't giving a disclaimer like, I'm not really this person, this is all make-believe.
Right.
However, because there is an inherent belief that some people believe in, telepathy or these psychic powers, they're more willing to believe something they don't understand. Like, there's already an understanding with theater that this is pretend, right?
Of course.
So I like to be honest when I do my own little disclaimer, and I just tell people it's magic and psychology blurring that line between the two. And I think that sits well with my own ethics. So other people have their line somewhere else.
And do people come up to you after shows though and be like, hey, can you read my mind right now? And like do all that stuff, and you're like, no, dude, get out of here.
I address it during my show so that
that's so funny.
So that doesn't happen.
How do you address it? Like,
I literally say, I know what you're thinking. After the show, you're gonna go up and be like, what am I thinking right now? I literally just say what they would do.
That's so funny, yeah.
So that if they do it, then I could just be like, remember what I said during the show?
And then what do you say? Like you said, I know you're gonna come to me, but come after the show. What are you thinking? Then are you like, I'm not gonna do that?
Well, the line in the show is I go, I travel all over the world performing for audiences just like you, and I know that there's someone in the audience that's gonna come up to me after the show and go, what am I thinking right now?
Yeah.
But it doesn't work like that. This is a two-way street, and I'm getting information from you as you're getting information from me. So then if they try to do it after, I'd be like, nope, you see, if you challenge me, it's not gonna work.
Yeah,
so,
yeah. That's fun. That's fun. And do some people, though, even though you put out a disclaimer saying it's magic, psychology, do some people still think that you are the real deal because you're so convincing and you're so good at what you do?
Absolutely, yeah. And I think part of it is you're never gonna change someone's whole core beliefs through one show.
Right.
So you can only meet people where they are so much. And then, I mean, they gotta do some of the work themselves.
Totally.
But yeah, man.
And you're always writing, always coming up with new bits and new jokes and new routines.
Yeah, I kind of missed my Amaze-Balls show. That was a good place to try that.
I was about to say, so Eric hosted the show at the Creek in the Cave called Amaze-Balls. It was a monthly show, and you could just go out and do anything you wanted. And I have two great memories from this show. The first one is when
you would always try the strangest things, by the way, which was the best
point, right?
It was the point. We'd have people come in and they do their A material.
No, not
and it was a free show for the audience and for the performers to work on stuff.
Not
and the people who did their A material, where it was like, joke's on you, you just did your A material for free and you learned nothing.
Right.
And then you would come in, because that's the spirit of the show, and just do something off the walls crazy.
Time, I told people I was a hypnotist.
This is my favorite. I was going to bring this up if you did.
And I actually learned how to hypnotize people before the show. And I practiced for like a few hours, or maybe figured out what I was going to do. And then I said, Eric, just tell people I'm a hypnotist, not a comedian or a juggler at the time. Because if people think I'm the real deal, they'll be more likely to volunteer and I actually hypnotize the guy in the audience.
Well, the funniest is the way I tell the story and how I remember is, I don't even remember you telling me your practice. I tell people, Marcus came up on stage and he just started mimicking what he saw other hypnotists do.
Which is what I did.
Without practicing, and it worked.
Well, I didn't practice on anyone. I just did it in my
your
apartment.
Head.
Right. Yeah, and it worked so well. And I posted the video, and I had a hypnotist friend being like, I was gonna be upset with you at first, but it was actually really funny.
Yeah, it's
the way
really
you did
funny.
it, because I hypnotized them, and there's a moment I look into the camera and I go, "Oh my god!"
Yeah.
I have no idea. You know what? I think I want to do that again.
Yeah.
I think I should, now that I'm better at editing videos, maybe I should do it again and see what happens. And then the other time I had a really fun time at your show was when I was just getting into stand-up. And I remember I was like, I'm gonna do some stand-up, and I was really nervous because you were there, and maybe who else was there? Patrick might have been there. And I did stand up though, and some jokes didn't do well, but some did really well. But it was just oh, okay. I'm doing stand up in New York City, and that was one of the first times I did stand up in the city. So that
I didn't know that was one of the first places that you kind of put the juggling aside.
Yeah.
Because I definitely remember you were on one of our first shows and you decided to juggle fire, which I don't think we were allowed to do in that venue. But
it's not there anymore.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, sorry, Rebecca.
Because it burned down. No, I'm just kidding.
Whoops.
No, but I always tell people with that show, you'd never know what you were going to see. So it was people might juggle fire. We had 3 people strip on stage.
Completely naked?
2 of them were were performers. One was an audience member.
What was the concept? What was the premise?
I don't even remember.
Oh, that's funny.
Someone fired a gun once.
A real gun?
Yeah, it had blanks in it.
Oh, well, that's still scary.
It was actually Todd. And I got a text. I wasn't there. I had a guest host, and I got a text message Todd fired a gun. No one seemed to mind. So the fact that the only time we ever got in trouble was sideshow performer Jack Sullivan was doing the human chopping block, and he had a bag of vegetables that he would chop on his forearm with a machete.
Oh, God.
And the only reason we got in trouble is because he left a bag of vegetables backstage for a month. They got gross. So
that's
none
hilarious.
of the other wild stuff.
That is so funny.
They just let us do whatever we wanted. But
that's the best, man.
Yeah, it probably wasn't wise all around, but...
Dude, you bring it back.
Yeah.
Bring back Amaze-Balls. I will perform at it.
We'll see. There's some talks. I'm trying to find a venue that'll give us that freedom.
Do it at Rodney's or a comedy club,
maybe.
or there's so many there's so many performance venues you can do it at. Yeah,
I love that show. Even just stuff that I was trying out. I remember in the early days I did a truth teller, Trump teller routine where you had to tell the difference between the people telling the truth and the liars.
That's
but
funny.
It only worked in New York.
That's really funny.
Yeah.
Love that, man.
Yeah.
There's so many. Yeah, dude. New York's great. Why is New York so good for magic?
That's a good question. It's just got its little hub. We were talking about this the other day at Speakeasy that like, you know, in LA they have everything's kind of revolved around the Magic Castle and kind of things branch off. We've never had that one establishment.
Right.
So people kind of did their own thing. I mean, obviously there were long-standing shows like Monday Night Magic. Yeah. But there was a lot of people doing their own thing and finding their own performance opportunities.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Maybe that's just kind of the vibe of the city, and I kind of based a lot of my variety shows off of like the stand-up shows that are here.
Yeah.
So like Amaze-Balls was kind of the underground.
Well, stand-ups or comedy is such a big part of your show too. It's like your comedy show with mentalism in it.
I'd always have one foot in the door in the comedy world. So when I was like starting out in Boston, I was doing stuff at the Comedy Studio.
Yeah.
And I was doing Improv Boston.
Yeah, that's so cool.
And then, you know, one of the reasons I moved to the city was for UCB to do the training there. So, yeah, I've always had that kind of looking towards what the comedians are doing and try and base what I do off of that.
Yeah, I mean, it shows. It's good because a lot of people don't expect you to be as funny as you are, I don't think.
Yeah, I mean, I have that kind of little superpower of you're seeing the show and then I can use a couple tricks that are against my character type to get people to laugh.
Yeah.
So like, not for like my colleges or corporates, but like on other shows I do, if I drop like an F-bomb out of nowhere, no one expects it coming from me.
Right,
so.
Yeah, you don't look like the F-bomb dropping kind of guy, but it probably makes people perk up. Like, oh, this is not your daddy, not your daddy's mentalism.
Yeah, exactly.
That's so fun. All right, man. So where can what do you got coming up? Anything?
I'm just kind of traveling around. I'm doing college and corporate shows.
Nice.
A couple public shows are on my website. And then
cool.
I'm often at Speakeasy Magic, so you can try and see me there. But I'm not there all the time, but you gotta be there when
Speakeasy Magic is like this magic show downtown.
It's in the Flatiron area now, yeah.
They changed? They moved?
They moved from the west side over to the east side.
Oh, dang.
Kind of, yeah.
All right.
There's a new venue. You gotta come by.
I haven't seen it yet. I haven't seen the show. I gotta go see it. I gotta go check out Speakeasy Magic. Only when Eric Dittelman is performing. Eric, where can people find you on socials?
Eric Dittelman. Oh yeah, E Dittelman at socials at E Dittelman, and Dittelman spelled D-I-T-T-E-L.
Yeah.
M-A-N.
E-L, not L-E.
But my website, ericdittelman.com, you can go to it. I bought most of the spelling, so if you're
trying to really,
if you're trying to find, try to type it in wrong and see if it'll still get there.
That's so funny. I love it, man. This is so good. Oh, and shout out to our buddy Colin Cloud.
Yeah.
Also Talkie Walkie alum. And you're going to Vegas to see the opening of his show, which is so exciting.
Yeah, it's going to be fun.
July 2nd?
Yep.
Oh, man.
So it's nice to go out there and support him, and that's a long time coming. Definitely.
Would you ever do a Vegas residency?
I popped in to do a couple Vegas shows, but I don't know if I'd live out there. I mean, no one's asked me, so I don't have to make that decision.
Well, but
maybe.
Do you need people to ask you, or do you like? Can you like? I don't know how it works.
Yeah, I
guess
know
you need
either.
backers and a lot of money.
Yeah, for anything, even if you had a residency here, you need a lot of money behind you to try and promote and market and sell tickets.
Yeah, it's so hard. Yeah,
it's a whole different game than
when
you're actually like doing a corporate, and it doesn't matter how many people in the audience, you get the same flat rate.
Exactly.
Which I like.
Yeah, it's not bad. All right, everyone, check out Eric Dittelman. Make sure if you're in college, book him to come to your college, your corporate event. It's a fun guy. We did it, man.
We did it.
Talkie Walkie. Yeah. Now look excited.
We do look excited. I'm just happy we're not crossing the street when there's not a cross sign anymore.
Yeah, we did that a lot. I'm sorry. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe and or watch another one. Watch another video. Could be fun. I don't know. Could be cool. You're already this far. You're